Hi everyone, I'm Claire. Welcome to your practice. So we're going to start lying down on your back in Shavasana. Feet towards the front of the mat, head towards the back of the mat, and make yourself really comfortable. If it feels nicer for you, you could take your feet wide, feet flat on the floor, knees together, or you can just let the legs come straight out in front. Arms are down by the side. Let's take a few deep breaths, settling into your practice. And now direct the next few breaths into the belly. So really let your stomach rise up and fall down with the breath. Now direct your next few breaths into the sides of your lungs. Feel that expansion in the sides of your rib cage. And now direct the next few breaths into the back of your lungs, back of the rib cage. You might even feel a bit more pressure into the floor. And now breathe into the belly, the ribs, the front, the back, the sides, all at once. And then just settle into a rhythm of breath that works for you today. Let's have a wiggle of the fingers, a wiggle of the toes. Move your wrists and your ankles in some circles. Take a big stretch, arms up overhead. Point the toes forwards. Guide your knees into the chest. Squeeze them in nice and tight. And perhaps a gentle rock side to side. Let's keep the right knee into the chest and slide your left leg straight out along the floor in front of you. You can blink the eyes open if they're still closed, and then let go of your knee but keep it where it is. We're going to take some internal and external rotation here with the hip. So the left hand can come onto the left pelvis point. We're just going to keep this side of the pelvis here. Make sure there's not too much movement happening underneath that left hand. So we're going to take the right knee in towards the midline of the body. At the same time, send your right ankle out towards the right hand side. And then the opposite. So send your right knee out to the right hand side and the ankle in towards the left. And we'll just take this movement a few times. And imagine that it's really, really coming from right in this crease at the top of the right leg. Imagine that that's the place that you're really trying to get this movement to come from. Trying to keep everything else in your torso really still. Okay, swap your legs, extend the right, bring the left leg up, hug it in first, and then keep it where it is as you release the hands. Right hand can come onto the front of the pelvis, and we start to internally and externally rotate the left leg, trying not to move the pelvis, trying not to move anything in your torso. The only thing we're trying to move here is the left leg, everything else is still. Okay, release. This time both feet to the floor, knees point towards the ceiling. Feet are fairly close together, lift up into a low bridge. So we're not going high at all. Feel like you're trying to lengthen your lower back And between the two pelvic points, imagine that almost like a rubber band is connecting the two. And imagine it's getting a bit tighter, so the lower abdomen switches on. Holding here. Okay, try to keep the pelvis in line. Wiggle your left foot in towards the middle a little bit. Lift the right leg up into the air. Hold it here, little pulses. And really get the left glute working. Swap the legs. Lift the left. Get the right glute working, just these little pulses. And then both legs come down. Roll your lower back down onto the floor. And hug your knees up into the chest. Give them a squeeze in. Rock side to side. Take your feet to the ground, take them wide. And just drop your knees to the right. And drop your knees to the left. Windscreen wiper the legs side to side a couple of times. Hug your knees into the chest. Rock and roll forwards, backwards. Come all the way up. Cross at the ankles. Step back into your tabletop position. And set up hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Drop the belly towards the mat. Lift the tailbone, lift the head. Inhale. Exhale, round through the spine. Tuck the chin into the chest. Inhale, round all the way back through, belly down, tail up, head is up. Exhale as you round all the way through your spine. Take a few more and start to shift the weight forwards and backwards through the hand at the same time as doing it. So feel like you're just tipping forwards and backwards. Rolling through the spine and trying to keep your movement with your breath as much as you can. Bring it back into neutral tabletop position. From your tabletop position, hover the right shin off the floor and draw a few circles with the right leg, trying not to move too much in the rest of the body. And then push the right leg back behind you. Take your left shin slightly out to the left. We're going to lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. Lift the right leg up. And then feel like you're thrusting your hips forwards a little bit, pulling the lower belly. So we're trying not to go into a back bend. We're trying to keep the spine as long and as neutral as possible. Take tiny circles with the right leg. Imagine you've got a pencil attached to your heel. And try not to move the rest of your body too much. Bring yourself back into tabletop. But keep this left shin slightly out to the side. From your tabletop position, bring the right knee up and the right elbow up into the air. And then drop back down, but not all the way. Pull back up. Drop back down, not all the way. Pull back up. Press the hips forwards. Drop back down. Come up. Push the hips forwards. Come back down. Take a few more. Keep trying to thrust your hips forwards. Keep trying to engage the glutes at the top. And tabletop position. Same thing, second side. So we're going to hover the left shin and start to draw circles. It can be tiny, just trying to get some movement in the hip joint. And then push that left leg back behind you along the mat. Right shin slightly to the right hand side. Right wrist is right underneath the right shoulder, so this arm is all set up. Lift the left arm up into the air. Lift the left leg, hover. So again, imagine you're sort of thrusting the hips slightly forwards. Hold it here. You should feel the glutes holding you here. Draw some small circles with the left leg. Try to stabilize as much as you can in the rest of the body. Tabletop. Bring everything back down. Keep the right shin slightly out to the side. And then left elbow, left knee, lift up. Lower back down, not all the way. Lift all the way back up. Lower down, not all the way. Lift all the way back up. Keep going like this. And every time you get to the top, just really push your hips forwards. Okay, come back to tabletop. From tabletop, walk your hands just a little bit further forward, spread the fingers. Tuck the toes, lift into your down dog, bending the knees as much as you need, lengthening your spine as much as you can. Walk your feet forwards to the hands at the top of the mat. And just roll your body up to standing, piece by piece, take your time. Okay, standing at the front of the mat now. Step your right foot slightly behind your left, almost like a curtsy, so the right foot comes behind. And then instead of having the toes tucked, we're going to untuck the toes, so the tops of the toes are on the floor. From here, lower down onto your right shin, and then sit back, with or without your hands, ideally without. From here, we're going to stand back up. So without the hands, put the weight on the right shin, left foot, stand up, then see if you can bring the right knee up into the chest. Hold, and place it down. Left leg steps behind the right like a curtsy. Top of the foot is on the floor, so the toes are not tucked underneath. The tops of the toes touch the ground. Lower down onto the shin, sit down. Right foot presses into the floor, shift onto the shin, come all the way up. Left knee up into the chest. Hold. And back down. One more on each side. Right leg lifts. Take it behind you. Shin down. Come all the way down. A bit smoother this time. Left foot down, come up. Knee back up. Take it down. Left knee lifts. Take it behind you. Shin to the floor. Sit all the way down and back. Put the weight to the right foot. Lift up. All the way up. Left knee to the chest. Release it down. Nice. Okay, well done. Standing tall. Hands to prayer. Inhale, lift the hands up. Exhale, fold all the way down over the legs. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step into plank. From plank, do a tiny push-up. So little bend of the elbows back up. Lower the knees, lower the rest of the body. Drag your hands backwards to pull the chest through, low cobra. Exhale, downwards facing dog, lift hips, up and back. From downwards facing dog, stay in your down dog but come down onto one forearm and then the other forearm. Don't let your head touch the ground, head is staying lifted. Come back up onto one hand, come back up onto the other hand, look forward, step, walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, come up to standing, sweep the hands up. Hands to prayer, heart center. Lift the right knee up into the chest. Right leg behind the left into that curtsy, right shin down. Sit all the way down. Come all the way back up. Weight through the left foot. Come all the way to standing. Right knee into the chest. Place it down. Left knee into the chest. Left shin behind you, drop to the shin. Come all the way down. Put the weight in the right foot, left shin, come forwards, come all the way up. Knee to the chest. Step down. Inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step back into plank. Little tiny push-up, just a tiny bend of the elbows and back up. Lower the knees, lower the rest of the body. Drag your chest through, low cobra. Exhale, downwards facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. Spread the fingers. A few deep breaths here. And if it feels good, press one heel to the floor. And then the other heel. So you bend one knee at a time, a few times like this. Okay, so our next pose we're going to come into, you can come straight in from downwards facing dog or you can drop to the knees for a moment. It's Dolphin Pose. So we're going to have our forearms on the ground, hands can be together or apart, but your elbows are definitely underneath your shoulders. From here, lift up, it looks like downwards facing dog. We came here before, just briefly. Again, knees can be bent. Holding your dolphin. Lift the right leg up in the air. Bend the right knee and draw some circles with the right knee. We're going to step that right foot in between the hands at the top. So you need to come onto your hands, push up, step the right foot through, turn your left foot to 90 degrees. Cartwheel your arms up into Warrior Two pose. So don't worry if you have to try that again on the second side. Settle into Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, bring your left hand to the left hip. We're going to take the right hand to the floor in front of your right foot. So back foot probably needs to step in, right hand to the ground. See if we can just kick the left leg up into the air. Half moon. Maybe left arm reaches up as well. You can bend the standing leg as much as you want, or if you've got something nearby you can lean on, you can bring the floor to you. Warrior Two, we just were there before. We're going to come all the way back up, settle into Warrior Two. Take a big inhale. Cartwheel your hands down to frame that right foot. And then we're going to be on the ball of the back foot here. So we're in a sort of lunge position with the legs. Left hand down, right arm peels up into the air. And then we move into a side plank, so make sure your left wrist is right underneath the left shoulder. Step the right leg back on top of the left leg. Push the floor away, lift the hips. And plank pose. Both hands drop. Hold your plank. Come all the way down onto the belly. So I'm aware that you might not be able to see this full pose, so listen carefully. We're going to take your left arm straight out along the floor. So as I'm lying down on the ground, my left arm is going to be straight out to the side of me, coming all the way along the floor. It's not going to be higher up, it's not going to be lower down, it's just going to be in line with the shoulder. So left arm straight out to the side. Bend your right knee. Put your right hand flat on the floor underneath your shoulder. And then use that right hand to roll and push your body onto the left shoulder. The right foot can find the floor behind you. If you want to, right hand can come behind your back and just hang down. Or it can stay as it was. Make sure your head isn't up. Make sure your head is dropping down, touching the floor. Okay, roll back into the middle. Piece by piece, roll onto your belly. Release that left arm. Hands down under your shoulders. Let's push back up into downwards facing dog. Settle into your down dog. So same thing on the second side now. We're going to come into dolphin. So the elbows come down to the floor. Hands can be together or apart. Lift the left leg, bend the left knee. Draw some circles with that left leg in the air. Remember, they don't need to be huge. And then left foot steps in between the hands as you come onto the hands. Left foot forwards, right toes turn out. Come up into Warrior Two. Settle into Warrior Two. Take a big breath. Let's come into our half moon pose. So right hand on the hip. Slide the back foot in a little bit more. Left hand to the floor. You can keep the left knee bent. Kick the right leg up in the air. Find some balance. If you want to straighten left leg, you can. We're opening up the hips to the side. Lift the right arm maybe. And Warrior Two, step the back foot back. Come all the way back up. Cartwheel your hands down, frame that front foot. Come onto the ball of your back foot, stay in this lunge position. Right hand is flat on the floor, about 6 inches or so away from the left foot. Left arm lifts up into the air. Really rotate through the chest. Side plank from here, so your right hand is already in place, right underneath the shoulder. Step the left foot back on top of the right foot, and then push your hips up. Imagine you're really trying to push the floor away. For 3, for 2, And plank pose. We're going to lower both hands. Slowly take your body all the way down onto the belly. Right arm comes straight out to the side, in line with the shoulder, left hand on the floor. Bend your left knee this time, and then use the left hand to roll your body onto that right shoulder. Head will want to come off the floor, but just let it relax. You can stay like this. You can take left hand behind the back. Close your eyes. Few deep breaths here. Okay, we're going to start to unravel. Just take it slow. Come back onto your stomach. Release the shoulder, release the arm. Push back up into your downwards facing dog. From down dog, turn your toes out and your heels in. So you're in a sort of wider stance. Heels are in, toes are out. And start to walk your hands back to your feet at the back. Pull your hips back behind you and shimmy and wiggle through the hips, through the shoulders, through the back. Come all the way down into a passive squat. Lengthen up the spine as much as you can. And we come to sit down. Okay. So similar to the more beginner version of this same sequence, the feet go wider. Let's drop both knees to the left and then over to the right. We're just going to take a few like this. Try not to move your torso as much to begin with. And you'll probably move forwards, that's fine. Okay, the next time that you come over to the left, see if you can come up onto the shins and push the hips forwards. Come back down. Right side, come onto the shins, push the hips, come down. Do one more on each side, push the hips, come back down. One more. Come all the way back down. Okay. Relax your feet. So we're going to come into our 90-90 legs. Right shin is going to be parallel to the front of your mat. Flex the ankle, 90 degrees in the knee. 90 degrees looking down, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. So again, if you've done the beginner version of this, then you're used to holding this pose. We can just hold it for the first few moments. Okay, we're going to add on to this now. So, see how it goes. Usually people find one thing harder and one thing easier. Try both. So, from this position, you're going to move your torso, but try not to. Okay, it's going to move, but you're trying really hard not to move it. From here, we're going to lift up your left knee. So this back knee. So you're facing the right leg. Hands can be on either side of the thigh. Fingertips can be on the floor, lifting your toe. We're just going to lift the knee and hold. So you can keep the foot on the floor, you can push into the left foot to lift the left knee. Still facing forward, still sitting up tall. Hold, 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 hold. And release, sit down. Okay. This one's usually harder for most people. And it's okay if you have to tip forwards a little bit, but you're just trying not to go really far. We're going to press into the knee. And lift the foot. It might be a centimetre, it might not be much at all, but you're going to really, really try. So, hands on either side of the right thigh. You might need to lean slightly, push into the left knee, lift the left foot, hold it off the floor for 5, 4, higher as you can, 3, 2, and 1, release it down, okay? Swap your legs over. Left shin parallel to the front, right shin down the back of the mat. Get set up, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees everywhere. Hands down, sit up tall. Hands are over each side of the left thigh, facing the front of your mat. If you're leaning, it's normal, doesn't matter. You're still just trying to sit as tall as you can. Okay, let's try lifting the right knee off the floor first. So push into the big toe edge of the right foot, sit up tall, lift the right knee as high as you can and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knee down. We're going to lift the right foot. So you're going to press into the right knee. You might tip slightly forward. Lift the right foot now for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place it down. Release both legs out in front of you. Relax them. Bring your hips forward to your heels. Come to lie down on your back. And we've got our figure 4 position from here with the legs. So the right leg can stay as it is. The left ankle onto your right knee. Guide your left knee out to the side. We can either stay here. You can roll your hips side to side. Or if you want to, just guide the right leg in towards you. Maybe you just keep it really active with the legs so you don't use the hands at all and you just make sure the legs are doing the work to hold it here. Or if you prefer, interlace fingers around the back of the right thigh and just hold yourself here, either a straight right leg or a bent right leg, whichever one is best for you today. Take a few deep breaths. And swap your legs over. Release. Right foot, right ankle to left knee. Guide the right knee open. Stay here. If that's enough for you, that's fine. Otherwise, lift off. Maybe take hold. Just find a place that works today. And slowly release. Come back into a position where your feet are on the floor, your knees point to the ceiling. Wiggle your feet wider and drop your knees together. Really let the sacrum, the flat part at the bottom of your back, sit heavy onto the floor. Let your shoulder blades feel heavy onto the floor and the back of the skull. Put one hand on your belly, one hand up on your heart. And let's just end this practice with this Shavasana, a few deep breaths. So I'm going to leave you here. And ideally, I'd like you to stay for about 5 minutes. In this relaxation, just a calm and steady breath. Pretty much everything in life can wait for 5 minutes. So stay in Shavasana for as long as feels good today. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.